Over our red bench drills, these are the dry fire manipulation drills that we do. Regardless of the courses, we always start with our basics, and we always start with red bench drills. Our red bench is our handling area. All handling must be done here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over how to lock your slide to the rear, how to manipulate your slide forward, how to use effective trigger control, and then obviously trigger reset. Whose handgun is this?
I believe it's mine.
All right, can I manipulate it?
Yes.
All right, so again, anytime we're doing dry fire drills, the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have a complete safe handgun. So what is a complete safe handgun? It is there's no magazine in the weapon, your slide should be locked to the rear, there should be no round in the chamber. So by implementing the fundamentals of safety, which is muzzle discipline, finger straight, mechanical safety, I'll check this handgun, keep my muzzle pointed safe direction, no magazine in the weapon, the slide is locked to the rear, and then I'll verify that the chamber is clear. I now have what we call a complete safe handgun. To let the slide go forward, there are two techniques we're going to teach you as a right-hander here. Using my thumb to manipulate the slide release, I'm going to push down here, and then the slide will go forward. That is the preferred technique, implementing your shooting hand or your strong hand. With my finger straight, muzzle pointed safe direction, we're going to teach you how to lock your slide to the rear. All right, we want to cant the weapon slightly to the right, and then I want to grasp with my fingers and my thumb just above the slide, just slightly in front of the ejection port area. We are not ever going to teach you to bring your hand in front of the muzzle. It's very important that you understand this. So I'm going to cant the weapon, bring my hand, my right hand slightly over to where my thumb is to manipulate that slide lock and that slide release. Then I'm going to push, rotating my hip, lift, and then lock that slide release or slide lock in place in that designated groove, and then visually and physically check that the chamber is clear. So if I want to send the slide forward, finger straight, muzzle pointed safe direction, push down, the slide will go forward. So again, lock your slide to the rear, cant, grasp, slide back, lift, lock in place. All right, slide forward, push down, let your slide go forward. All right, lock your slide to the rear, cant, grasp, slide back, lift, lock in place. If you struggle manipulating with your thumb, you can use what we call slingshot technique. Keeping my finger straight, muzzle pointed safe direction, I'm going to cant the weapon. Using my thumb and my index finger, I'm going to push and release, just like a slingshot. All right, that's an effective technique. We don't like to teach it because it requires both hands. I'd prefer that you use your thumb. However, if you have any issues, all right, use the two-handed technique. So up here on the red bench, keeping the muzzle pointed safe direction, the command I'll give you is, very carefully, maintaining muzzle discipline, lock your slide to the rear. Cant, grasp, slide back, lift, lock in place, check the chamber. Let your slide go forward, finger straight, muzzle pointed safe direction, push down, slide should manipulate forward. At this point in time, if you have a decock or a reset, you'll start practicing how to decock or reset the weapon. All right, again, lock your slide to the rear, check your chamber, clear chamber, or let your slide go forward. Push down with your thumb or slingshot. Either technique is acceptable. Now, what if I'm a left-hander? I have this left-handed technique, finger straight, muzzle pointed safe direction. I will cant the weapon to the right. I will push back, and then with that same thumb, I'm going to lift, let it come forward, and then lock in place. Just be very careful because you could pinch yourself and it's going to hurt. All right. If I need to manipulate, I can slingshot or I can bring my thumb over. All right. That kind of messes up your grip, so I prefer that you slingshot as needed. But again, cant the weapon, finger straight, muzzle pointed safe direction. I'm going to pull back, lift, lock in place, check my chamber. All right. Let your slide go forward, slingshot, right-handed or left-handed technique. Any questions? All right. Maintaining muzzle discipline, finger straight. The next technique I'm going to teach you is called trigger control. All we're going to do is put our finger on the trigger, pull the trigger slow and controlled. Shot. You should hear a click. While you're doing that, I want you to focus on the forward sight. If there's any erratic movement on the forward sight, what does that tell you? That means you're jerking the trigger. Keep your finger straight, bring the weapon over it, we're going to recock. If you have a weapon system with a decocker, you will decock and reset. If you have a weapon system with an external safety, you will manipulate your safety as needed. We are going to start learning at the red bench with dry fire techniques the manipulation of our external safety or the decocker if needed. If you have a striker-fired weapon system, just remember to keep your fingers straight. So in our trigger control technique, we're going to come over, recock, I'll say finger on the trigger and shot. Pull the trigger slow and controlled and focus on your front sight. When I break the shot, was there any erratic movement on the front sight? Right, if not, you know you're not jerking the trigger. Recock, decock, reset, weapon on safe for some of you, manipulate your safety if needed. Finger on the trigger, shot, slow and controlled. Finger straight, recock. All we're practicing is trigger control. All right? Finger on the trigger, control the trigger, slow and controlled, shot. Finger straight, recock. Finger on the trigger, slow and controlled, shot. Finger straight, recock. Finger on the trigger, slow and controlled, focus on your forward sight for any erratic movement. Shot, finger straight, recock. The next thing we're going to practice is trigger reset. I'll say finger on the trigger, slow and controlled. Shot while holding the trigger in place. Recock. Now slowly reset the trigger. Listen. Pick up your shot from there. Shot. That's called trigger reset. Recock. Reset. Shot. Recock. Reset. Shot. Recock. Reset. Shot. What are we practicing? Our trigger reset. When we're done with our string, finger straight. If I say lock your slide to the rear, finger straight, muzzle point a safe direction, lock your slide to the rear. Any questions? All right, an additional technique that you can learn to manipulate your slide is by turning your body, all right, canting the weapon, and then using the momentum from your hips to go ahead and lock your slide if you have issues with manipulating with your hands. All right, now the imperative thing behind that is to make sure you turn your body, not the weapon. If you turn the weapon, you're going to break the 180 and be a safety violator. You don't want to see that happen. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Yes.
All right, good.